So a few weeks ago, I finished my freshman year of high school, and for all of you approaching high school, this might help you out. Now, some of you can maybe relate with me, but last year in 8th grade, I did school completely online, meaning this was my first time being in a classroom since February 2020. And as usual, I also had a summer reading assignment due, which I've been casually working on for the last few days. I even got up at 5:20 in the morning to finish it. After having some breakfast and getting ready for school like normal, I left my house, but I had to sprint to get to the bus because it would be arriving within minutes. I turned a corner and I saw my bus pull in. I was running faster and faster, but I was still the final student to board from our stop. My bus was packed as usual, despite having over 20 seats and 2 kids crammed into each. There were almost 40 students on our bus, so when the driver pulled up to the next stop, he realized there was no way he could fit another 15 students. He asked if there was like built-in radio system if any other buses could come and pick these kids up, but all the other drivers had claimed they didn't have enough room, which to be honest, I still think they just didn't want to bother. I mean, we're high school kids and these school bus drivers aren't paid enough to even check if their bus is full. Turns out the bus drivers just decided he would come back for those guys. We just left them standing in the pouring rain, and I still don't know what happened to them. But to be honest, they probably got abducted by an alien, or worse, they took the school bus. I finally arrived at my school, luckily still alive. This place was a total zoo, except all of the animals had deformed into high school students. My school has over 3,000 people, and it got so bad that we could barely move. I even saw a kid with crutches on the ground who probably recently broke his leg and then got tripped over when he got to school. I don't know what happened to him, but he most likely ended up with 2 broken legs that day, and I'm sure that was not a fun way to start the school year. Eventually, I saw my smartest friend, and I know that I'm a nerd and stuff, but like, he's so far ahead of our grade that my dad looks up to him. I asked him how the book report went, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I did it a couple years ago. It took me maybe an hour." And I thought, man, I should not have wasted so much time on it, but I got more to say about that later. We said our goodbyes, and I headed for my first period class, which we were supposed to learn Photoshop in, but I pretty much just ended up learning it on my own. When I sat down, there were probably about 15 minutes before class, and I found a couple people to talk to about Minecraft. Little did they know, I was a 400 star and a Minecraft YouTuber. I was honestly pretty surprised once class started. Yeah, the teacher gave guidelines and all the usual stuff teachers do on the first day to fill time, but apparently most of the teachers in high school don't care if you're on your phone or not, which was a little shocking because in middle school, if you decided to use your phone, you might as well call the cops while you're at it because phones were treated like drugs from the black market. Also, can I just point out how sad it is that tons of kids came in late on the first day of school? I mean, they were still walking in towards the end of a 50-minute class. But who knows, maybe they were the kids who never got picked up by the bus. For period 2, I was literally right next door, and it was focused on HTML coding. This teacher was so laid back, he swore at us while teaching. At this point, I needed to use the dreaded school bathrooms, and I stumbled across some on my way to 3rd period, but I almost died. Not because they were filled with toxic gas and hormonal teenagers, but out of the shock that there was soap in the soap dispensers and fresh paper towels. Now this was only the first day and it didn't last for long, but things were so much better than middle school. And yeah, 3rd period was also pretty easy. The teacher put on so many Disney movies, you'd think she was married to Mickey Mouse. My 4th class was Spanish. This was actually one of the strictest teachers I had, and she managed to teach us the Spanish alphabet during the first day of school, which meant I was in for a pretty rigorous course, especially when the only languages I'm good at learning are computer ones. So after Spanish, I had my other language class, which is of course English, and our teacher didn't even ask for the summer assignment, so yeah, I wasted all my time as usual. But she also collected it like 2 weeks later. My high school has like this outside courtyard, and I think a lot of other ones do too, but you could actually like eat outside, so as long as the weather wasn't terrible or it wasn't raining, it was pretty cool because the cafeterias, if you've ever been in a school cafeteria, they are filthy. Our school actually had 2 different lunch periods because there were so many people that they just couldn't fit them all in one. I brought my lunch as usual instead of getting the school cafeteria food to avoid contracting every disease known to mankind. But I wasn't sure where to sit because there were literally thousands of kids and I didn't see anyone I knew. I was about to sit at some empty table and be a complete loner, but then right next to me, I realized there was a bunch of my friends sitting at this table. So I moved over there, and pretty much for the rest of the year, I just sat with people I knew. Now I have like some friends in Canada and stuff, and they have really long lunches. I mean, they have lunch for like 2 hours. They can go to the mall and get food. I mean, they can literally leave campus because it's so long. We had 28-minute lunch. And yeah, by the time you get your lunch from the huge lunch line, you basically had to eat it really fast. And after lunch, I had math, which is 6th period. And I thought that the hardest part of taking Algebra 2, because it's 2 years ahead of my grade, would have been the math. But the hardest part was actually deciphering what the teacher was writing on the board, because I was assigned at the very back of the classroom, and I couldn't see anything because these crappy projectors are probably older and dimmer than the students themselves. But yeah, it honestly could have been so much worse. My first year of high school turned out pretty well, so if you want more videos on it, then leave a comment. This is my first Bedwars commentary, so thanks for sticking till the end.